He's magnetic, witty, wild-hearted, the guy who lights up every room and disappears just as fast. You think you've made a real connection, and then suddenly he's gone. No explanation, no closure, just space. But what if I told you this pattern has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the war he's been fighting inside himself? This isn't just about commitment issues or thrill-seeking behavior. This is about the Sagittarius man's deepest fear, being emotionally trapped. In this video, we're going far beyond the stereotypes and to the parts of him that few people ever get to see. Let's talk about why he escapes right before it gets real and whether he ever truly wants to stop. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Freedom. The Sagittarius man is often praised for his freedom-loving nature. He's the explorer, the seeker, the one who refuses to be tied down, not just physically, but emotionally. But what looks like confidence and independence is often a carefully constructed illusion. His need for space isn't just about wanderlust, it's about protection. From an early age, many Sagittarius men learned that emotional closeness could feel suffocating, whether it came from a parent who was too overbearing or from environments where vulnerability felt unsafe. He internalized the idea that staying light and detached would keep him in control. When emotions get heavy, he doesn't know how to sit with them, so he moves fast. And this is the root of his so-called freedom. It's not just a desire for experience, but an avoidance of stillness. Stillness brings him face to face with feelings he can't outrun. Silence makes the questions louder. And intimacy? It threatens the identity he's built around being carefree and in control. When he feels something real, something that asks him to stay, emotionally, spiritually, or even physically, it triggers something deeper, not dislike, not disinterest, but fear. Because deep down, he doesn't want to lose his autonomy, and he associates emotional depth with being consumed, or worse, being exposed. So he keeps things moving, keeps it playful, keeps it philosophical, and if it starts to get too real, he's out. Often suddenly, often without warning, not because he didn't care, but because the moment required more than he was emotionally equipped to give. This is the illusion of freedom. What looks like power is often fear in disguise. And until he learns to sit still, to stay present when things get uncomfortable, he'll continue to run, not from others, but from himself. Chapter 2: Humor, Philosophy, and the Art of Disappearing. The Sagittarius man is often the most charismatic person in the room. He'll make you laugh, challenge your ideas, and light up your mind with stories and insight. But all that lightness serves a purpose. It keeps you from seeing what's underneath. His humor and intellect are more than personality traits. They're defense mechanisms. When something uncomfortable arises, especially emotionally, he pivots. Quickly, he'll crack a joke, shift the topic, or zoom out into something abstract and philosophical. He'd rather debate theories of human nature than talk about his own pain. He'll talk about freedom, fate, or what it all means, anything but how he actually feels. Because the truth is, the Sagittarius man is deeply sensitive, but his sensitivity is unprotected. He hasn't built the emotional muscle to sit in discomfort without needing to escape it. So instead, he becomes the fun guy, the one who lifts the mood, the one who won't bring the vibe down. And over time, that becomes part of his identity, even when he's hurting. And when he can't redirect the discomfort with words or charm, he disappears. It might be subtle at first, less texting, less presence, a drop in warmth, or it might be sudden, a full vanishing act just as things were beginning to deepen. His logic says he needed space, but the truth is he panicked. The situation touched a part of him he hasn't made peace with. The most painful part? Most people don't even realize what just happened. They're left confused, blaming themselves, wondering if they said too much, moved too fast, or read the situation wrong. And he rarely explains it, not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know how to explain something he hasn't fully faced. He masters the art of disappearing without ever seeming cruel. But emotional evasion, no matter how gentle, still leaves wounds. And if he doesn't learn to stop using humor and intellect as shields, he'll never let anyone close enough to love the parts of him he's buried. Chapter 3: The Woman or Man Who Stops Him in His Tracks. Every Sagittarius man has a moment where someone cuts through his armor, someone who doesn't chase him, doesn't cling, and doesn't try to entertain him. She doesn't match his speed. She slows him down, not with force, but with presence. She's grounded, emotionally composed, and deeply self aware. And that's what unnerves him, because she doesn't get swept up in his charm. She sees behind it. She listens to the spaces between his words. She notices the slight tension in his voice when things get real, and somehow she doesn't flinch. He can feel her solidity, and part of him wants to run from it, while another part aches to stay. This is the inner split he doesn't talk about. On the surface, he may act like he's still in control, but internally he's questioning everything, because this woman doesn't try to possess him. And that's exactly why she haunts him. She reminds him of a truth he's been avoiding, that real connection doesn't rob you of your freedom, it refines it. But he's not ready for that lesson yet. So even as he's pulled toward her, he's also looking for exits. He may become inconsistent, hot and cold, deeply present one moment and emotionally absent the next. It's not to confuse her, it's because he is confused. This is the turning point. He can either lean into what she's mirroring, his fear, his depth, his desire to be truly seen, or he can do what he's always done: detach, retreat, and convince himself it was never that serious. What he doesn't realize is that she wasn't trying to hold him, she was simply holding space. And that kind of stability terrifies someone who's never had it without strings attached. Sometimes the woman who stops him in his tracks isn't there to stay. She's there to show him what he's not yet ready to hold. Chapter 4: Can He Stay? The Hidden Desire Beneath the Escape. For all his running, all his exits, and a self proclaimed need for space, the Sagittarius man carries a truth he rarely admits. He doesn't want to be alone. Not really. Beneath the freedom, beneath the philosophy, beneath the jokes, is a man who quietly longs to be met, to be loved without being controlled, to be understood without being explained. But here's where it gets complicated. He wants intimacy on his terms. He wants to be seen but not exposed, to be held but not held back. And that's why so few ever reach the deepest parts of him, because the moment someone gets close enough, he disappears, thinking the closeness will cost him his autonomy. The truth is, staying doesn't mean surrendering, but he doesn't know that yet, because staying requires a kind of emotional stillness that he's never had to practice. It's not grand or adventurous or exciting. It's quiet. It asks him to sit with his discomfort, to witness his inner chaos without fleeing. And that stillness is what his soul is quietly craving. If he reaches a point in his life where the thrill starts to feel empty, where the constant motion stops feeling expansive and starts to feel lonely, that's when the shift begins. That's when he may start looking at love not as a threat to his freedom, but as a mirror for his healing. He doesn't need to be tamed. He needs to be trusted and to learn how to trust in return. Because the real journey for the Sagittarius man isn't out there in the world, it's inward. And if he ever chooses to stay fully, vulnerably, without running, he won't lose his freedom. He'll finally understand it. Because freedom isn't found in escape, it's found in being fully yourself, even when someone's looking. Closing: Beyond the run, the path to staying. If you've ever loved a Sagittarius man, you know the heartbreak of being close, almost close enough, only to watch him pull away the moment it matters most. It can feel like he's choosing freedom over you, but the truth is, he's choosing fear. because real intimacy asks him to risk something he's spent his whole life protecting, his sense of control. If you're the one who stopped him in his tracks, know this: you weren't imagining the connection. You didn't do anything wrong. You were simply a mirror showing him what he wasn't ready to face. And if you are that Sagittarius man, maybe it's time to ask yourself, are you really free or just afraid of being seen? The escape route will always be there, but so will the stillness, waiting for the day you finally choose to stay.